Hello everybody, a Kinder Surprise is probably the most desirable sweet for any children that you can buy in the supermarket. Although I don't think that any adults would turn it down either. So let's open up the Kinder. In fact, it's just an egg made with chocolate. Rather, of two types, milk and white. And inside it has a yellow capsule that you can find a toy in when you open it. Maybe it just seems like it to me, but these toys were much more interesting in my childhood. Over the past 6 months, I've been thinking in detail about how to make a giant Kinder Surprise so that it turns out to be perfect, just like a factory-made one. And finally, I came up with it. Please give this video your likes in advance, and now let's start. Have you ever wondered how chocolate was made? There are whole plantations where cocoa fruits are grown. We bought 4 of these ripe fruits. They are very large and cumbersome. We break it into 2 parts, and we see the white seeds inside. These are ripe cocoa beans, but to turn them into chocolate, they need to be processed for a long time. We transfer them to a wooden barrel, and cover them with saran wrap. The beans will be in this barrel for 7 days and fermented. Well, it's time to retrieve them. Excellent. Our cocoa beans have been fermented and smell pleasantly like vinegar. We take a dryer like this and put all our beans in it. We set it to 40 degrees and turn it on. That way they continue drying for another 7 days. A week has passed and the cocoa beans are dehydrated. But to make a giant Kinder, this is definitely not enough. So I bought some more dry cocoa beans. They look exactly like ours. These beans are raw, so we go outside and pour 2 bags of beans into the cauldron. We still need to chop wood. Let's open the stove and put some crumpled paper and small firewood into it. Kindle the fire. When it is flared up, we begin to mix the cocoa beans. That way they fry more evenly. After about 10 minutes of roasting, they begin to smell very tasty. Therefore, about 5 more minutes and you can check. The husks should easily come off the roasted cocoa beans. We remove them from the fire. The roasting stage has been passed. Now we take another bowl. We remove the shell from each cocoa bean. We break the core and transfer to the second bowl. We get these kind of cocoa nibs. We use this as the main raw material for making milk chocolate. We also bought a box like this. We open it, and inside we see a lot of cocoa butter. It looks and feels like an all-in-one laundry soap. So that it can be quickly melted later, we set it up with a knife. This is a very sticky process. Two hours later, we got a whole basin of finely crushed cocoa butter. In order to properly make chocolate, you need a machine called a mélanger. In fact, this is an electric mill with such stone millstones. We grind cocoa nibs, milk powder, sugar, and cocoa butter into it. We collect 1 kilogram of cocoa nibs and pour it into the mélanger. A full glass of powdered milk, a glass of sugar, and turn it on. All the ingredients are mixed and gradually ground into a more delicate powder. Add some cocoa butter. It will gradually warm up from friction and the mass will become. And now it just takes time. The grains will become smaller and smaller. In the meantime, let's turn on another machine called Marmite. It will heat the chocolate so that it remains a liquid. Fill it with water up to the maximum. We set it on 2 and turn it on. 2 hours have passed. The chocolate has become even thinner. To make it taste familiar to us, we add vanilla extract. And in factory chocolate, a powder called soy lecithin is used. We need to add quite a lot of it. It is completely harmless, and it is only made to use to make the chocolate more liquidy. The chocolate has been 3 hours in the melanger. We turn it off, and we pour it into the gastric capacity. The first portion of natural milk chocolate is ready. We put the tray into the Marmite so that the chocolate doesn't freeze. Now we load the next batch. This time, for the melanger to grind the cocoa nibs faster, we pour it in gradually. Then gradually pour in cocoa butter. When the mass has become a liquid, gradually it's sugar, milk powder, and other additives. We wait another 2.5 hours and pour the chocolate into our tray. And for the third time, we add more powdered milk and 4 hours of stirring. It turned out very nice, perfectly glossy milk chocolate. We also transfuse it. It took us 2 days to fill the tray to the brim. We mix all of these things together, and we're done. The next stage is tempering. You may ask, why is this necessary? I'll show you an example of 2 tiles. We filled one with melted chocolate, and the second with tempered. After solidification, we take them out. And the one that is just melted melts very quickly, remaining in your hands. But the tempered chocolate is glossy. To it, cocoa butter crystals are combined into a strong crystal lattice. Therefore, when you break it, there's a crunch. In order to temper a large volume of chocolate, we increase the heating. And constantly stirring, we heat the chocolate to 45 degrees. We get the tray out, and let's go outside. We put it onto a cold tile. Constantly stirring, literally in 15 minutes the chocolate should cool down to exactly 25 degrees. That's it, we return the chocolate back to the heat and heat it up to 31 degrees. This is the end of tempering. We will pour chocolate into such large egg halves. I ordered these forms 6 months ago at a factory in America, and now they have arrived. These forms cost 20,000 hryvnias, or 54,000 rubles. So we open the alcohol, pour it into the mold, and rub it around with a napkin. So that way it'll be perfectly clean and the chocolate will shine. Done. Now we send the forms to the freezer for 1 hour. They should be cool completely. Now that the molds are icy, we scoop up the chocolate, pour it into the mold, and distribute evenly. The chocolate seizes instantly. Fill it as evenly as possible so that there are even walls of the same thickness everywhere. We drain the excess chocolate back in. One more time, we put it into the freezer. And we fill in the forms again. And one more go around. The forms are always very heavy and you can't twist them in your hands, therefore we pour the chocolate along the walls and smear it around with a spatula. That way we filled up all the milk chocolate. But there is also a white one in Kinder, so let's do that. We need cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar, and soy lecithin, and of course a melanger. We collect a full measuring cup of cocoa butter. We turn on the melanger and begin to pour in very gradually. There is literally a third of a teaspoon of soy lecithin. We collect 700 grams of sugar and gradually pour it in. Well, we've got a full measuring cup of powdered milk. And now it just takes time. Grains of powdered milk and sugar will decrease and interfere with the butter. The correct consistency will be happening in 2 hours later. Pour our homemade white chocolate into the Marmite. We cooked white chocolate for 15 hours. And we also temper it. And we also pour that into the mold the same way. It's smeared around with a spatula. We poured white chocolate in one very long approach. While you were smearing one form, the second one has time to freeze, so you can change them around like that. Now the chocolate egg halves are ready. Let's make an integral part of the Kinder Surprise, namely the yellow capsule. To do this, we bought a plastic barrel for 20 liters. We bend the fastenings for the handle and remove them. The barrel is shaped like a capsule, but not in color. Therefore, we unscrew it from the lid and take it to a safe place for painting. Shake the cans with spray paint and cover the barrel with yellow. We completely painted it in 3 approaches. Now we've got a big yellow capsule like that. In my opinion, it kind of looks like the original. What kind of gift will we put inside? I thought everything out in advance and I bought a big Bluetooth speaker on the internet. We open it up and put it inside, as well as wires and instructions. That's it, you can close it. We put our surprise in one of the Kinder halves. We take out the second one. Perfect. At first, we just melted the edge of the chocolate with a burner and tried to install the second half of the egg on top. But they did not dock, and there were very large gaps. Therefore, we take out the other half. With a knife, we cut off the uneven edge. And try it again. This way it worked out more or less pretty smooth. And to glue these two halves together, we pass the white chocolate along the joint. Now our Kinder is ready. But what kind of Kinder would it be without colorful packaging? To make that, we take the molds again and line the foil on top of them, gluing each layer with double-sided tape. Next, you need acrylic paints, rollers, brushes, and pencils. First, you need to make a red and white background. And then we apply multicolored inscriptions. In my opinion, it turned out really nice. So we put the lower part of the wrapper on the floor, carefully lower our Kinder into it, and together with the foil, we lift it back up. We put the other half of the package on top. We connect the planes and fix it with a stapler. Hello everyone. As a child, one of my most favorite sweets were these gummy worms with different flavors, and today, I decided to make a huge version of it. Our first taste will be unusual: carrot. We take a basin and begin to peel the carrots with a vegetable peeler. The clean and peeled carrots are sent to the basin. And so we clean out all 30 kilograms. We filled the base with a large bunch. Now we take a juicer, substitute in the juice bowl, and turn the carrot into carrot juice. The first bowl was filled, and we will accumulate juice in buckets. Therefore, we pull it from the bowl. Carrots are not very juicy, so the cake container has already overflowed. We clean it. And continue in the same spirit until we completely empty the bowl. Done. The result was 10 liters of juice. And the second flavor will be orange. Pour the fruit into the sink. Fill it up with water. And each orange needs to be thoroughly washed. In order to extract the maximum from an orange, you need also its extract. To do this, remove the thinnest top layer of zest with a vegetable peeler. It is in that aromatic essential oils are stored. We cut off the zest of about 10 oranges. And now we chop it up with a knife. We will extract the fragrance using the Socolite extractor. We send a piece of gauze to the extraction flask. And fill it to the brim with our orange peel. Another one of gauze. And we move on to the second flask. It's a refrigerator. To make it work, it needs to be filled with as cold of water as possible. The hole is sealed with tape so that it doesn't leak out. Done. The last flask remains, and we will pour 2 bottles of alcohol into it. After all, it is alcohol that dissolves essential oils well. We assemble a system of these 3 flasks. We take an electric stove and put an extractor on it, and turn it on at medium power. The alcohol heats up, and as soon as it reaches 78 degrees, it begins to boil, and steam rises up through our system. As soon as it reaches the refrigerator, it immediately cools down. And in the form of condensation, it flows into the extractor where it dissolves the essential oils contained in the orange peel. Subsequently, alcohol with a powerful orange smell flows back into the lower flask. And so on in a circle. An hour later, the natural orange flavor is ready, and it is very rich. Back to the oranges. Citrus juicer, 2 buckets. A sieve goes on top, and you can start. Cut the oranges in half. The pulp is pressed against the juicer, and it squeezes out the juice as efficiently as possible. We filled up our first cup. You can pour through a sieve into a bucket. And and we throw out all the jelly particles so that the sieve does not clog. We pass all the oranges through the juicer, and we're left with 10 liters of juice. As a mold for the worm, we will use a corrugated pipe. Normal people use it for hoods. We stretch it to a length of about 1.5 meters. Done. We also need 2 balloons. Inflate them so that they stretch to the maximum. The main thing is not to burst yourself with such tension. And we blow it back. We cut off the narrow neck and pull on one side of the tube. This is necessary so that the edges of the future worm are rounded. We connect the plastic clamps together and fix the ball with them so that it doesn't fly off. On the other side of the pipe, we pour some oil and turn the pipe to lubricate every fold inside. That's it, the oil can be drained. The second ball is dipped in oil. Turned right inside out. And also pulled onto the pipe. And we fixed it exactly the same way. And in the middle of the pipe, we make a small incision. And we bend it a little bit so that there's a little bit of place to pour the Jell-O. To separate the layers, insert the cardboard. And so that it doesn't pop out, fix it with a screw. We proceed to the preparation of the jelly itself. We need 2 large pots and pour 2 types of juice into them. To make the taste richer, add citric acid and sugar. And our flavoring is also added to the orange juice. All of this is thoroughly mixed. Now you need 10 kilograms of gelatin. The strength of gelatin is measured in grams. If it in store is about 150 bloom, then we have 250. In journal, it's much more powerful. We fill it with a measuring cup and put it in there into the saucepan, stirring constantly. Five kilograms of gelatin should be poured into each of the juices. It immediately swells up and our juices no longer looks like liquid. We put the pots on the stove. Turn on the burners. And start mixing up our mass. After 40 minutes of continuous stirring, the gelatin is finally melted. We transfer the pans closer to the mold. We collect another hot mass and pour it carefully into the mold. This way, we gradually fill out our form completely with fruit jelly. Then we remove the partition. And I gotta say that this was in vain because it was necessary to wait for the jelly to set a little bit. We turned on the air conditioner and let the form all night sit. The next morning, the jelly was completely frozen. Let's cut the shape lengthwise. And begin to open it. After that, we simply roll our giant jelly worm onto the table. And it turned out to be the right shape. Every fold of the pipe was imprinted. But the tastes, unfortunately, are kind of mixed. We got a carriage orange worm. But that's not all. We remembered that there are still such worms in the dusting with a richer taste, and decided to do something similar with our own. Just sprinkled it with citric acid, and sugar. Well, let's cut off a piece and try it. And you know what? It turned out pretty delicious. It's like the carrot wasn't even there. The taste is pure orange. And the flavor is so powerful that the smell of the zest remained, despite the fact that we diluted it in a large volume of juice. In general, the giant jelly worm was a success, and if you want to cook something huge, then put a lot of likes on this video, you guys. Write in the comments what to cook for me, okay? Bye, everybody.